I don't know that Somebody Feed Phil is picked up for next season. I have no idea, even though we're one of their longest running shows in their history, Netflix. 8 seasons. That never happens.
Would you watch other shows like Friends, King of Queens, Seinfeld to see?
Sure. Couldn't help it. It was, first of all, 3 networks, right? We didn't have Netflix. We didn't have streaming. We didn't have the internet. Everybody watched.
They all read with that Fruit of the Month scene. No one came close to Doris Roberts. She was what was in my head and in my life and was so beyond even.
Did you ever run out of ideas for Everybody Loves Raymond?
Yeah, we started to run out of ideas, which is why we stopped. We were not canceled. We said, it's enough. They backed up the money truck. They said, how about this?
What country do you think has the best food in Europe?
Oh, wow. It's a toss-up for me between Italy, Spain, and France. I'm going to say...
Was there ever a moment where you thought, I want to make television. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. This is what I'm going to chase?
Yeah, probably when I was a little kid. I thought, when you're a little kid and you're watching TV, you don't know there's writing and directing and producing. I would watch, like, the reruns of a show called The Honeymooners. Did you ever see The Honeymooners?
I have.
With Ralph and Norton. I thought they were the funniest things in the world. And I remember, even as a little kid, that I would imitate them to my parents and their friends, and they thought I was hilarious. And I just thought, that's what being on television is the coolest thing.
And then you have to understand that there's all these different aspects coming into it.
Well, yeah, I would be in the school plays, and then you start to realize, oh, somebody wrote this. Oh, and you're being directed by somebody. And I thought that was cool, too. And then I was a big hit in high school. I was a big star in high school, so much so that they encouraged me to go for theater. And I went to Hofstra University, and it was there that I learned about directing and producing and writing.
And were you a natural at it?
I think I understood it because I watched so much TV. I watched to a fault. My parents would say, what are you going to do, get a job watching television? Because that's all I would do. And they, like abnormal, because I was a little short kid, and if I went outside, I would get picked on and stuff. So TV was my friend. And so I would watch to excess. And it's funny, after I did get a job in television, writing television, I sent my parents a giant TV with a note on it that said, ha.
How big are we talking?
We're talking at the time, I don't know, 35-inch TV, which was huge then in the late 80s.
And what are you falling in love with at that point? You loved the writing. Was that what you wanted to go with?
I loved the acting. I loved being a character actor. I loved
in front of the camera.
Yeah, that's what I did in high school and college. And then I moved into New York, and nobody told them what a big star I was in high school or college. And so I had all these odd jobs. And it wasn't until some friends of mine and I wrote a show for ourselves to be in, because we were so desperate, that cracked through. And now I understood. And at the same time, a friend of mine who was already a writer, he came to me, he goes, let's write a screenplay. I said, I don't know how. He said, I know the structure. You're funny. Let's write something together. And we wrote it and we sold it. We sold it to HBO. The first thing I ever wrote when I was, 27, 28 years old.
Was that a hard thing to do at that time?
To sell a show or a movie? Of course, it's always been hard. Especially your first time out. So that's like the world is telling you, maybe you do this. Maybe you don't have to eat tuna fish for dinner every night as an actor. Maybe you can eat whatever you want as a writer.
And is this at the time you're doing security at the MoMA?
Actually, that was in New York at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Yes. I fell asleep on a 300-year-old bed during the night shift.
Did they fire you from that?
Yeah, they don't like you sleeping on the art. Yeah, I got fired. But then years later, when I come to L.A. and I'm trying to get work as a writer, I write a sample script with a friend of mine for Roseanne. And I think, what could it be about? And then I thought, what if the dad, they need extra money, and he gets a job working as a night guard at the local museum, and he falls asleep on a 300-year-old bed. And when we sent this script around, everyone said, what an imagination. So I tell the kids, I tell everybody, use every single aspect of your life and have experiences. Even if you're not in love with them, that being a guard wasn't my favorite thing to do, but look what came from it. You never know.
A
And
lot.
and being fired from the job was humiliating. It was awful, but it was a life experience that I could draw on later. It's a story. You know, how many times have you had like shitty things happen to you and you say, well, at least I got a story now.
A lot of people think my life could be a movie. I should write this down. Are you thinking that at that point? Do you think that
No, you just think this shitty thing happened to me.
that's
That's all you're
now I need to
thinking.
find a new job?
Until I wrote a script and we got hired immediately on a TV show.
Did that script get picked up and written and
No,
filmed?
no, a lot of things don't. Even in fact, the screenplay that I'm telling you we sold to HBO never got made.
But they bought
That's
it.
90% of everything never gets made. First of all, it doesn't sell. Second of all, it doesn't get made. You're in the top 1% if you get a thing made, let alone have it go on to be successful.
Was the next project that you worked on Everybody Loves Raymond?
That was the first thing that was mine, the first show I created. And that, after 5 years of working in television on shows you never heard of, one show maybe you did hear of called Coach. I worked on that show for a few years. And during the third year of that show that I was working on, I got a video cassette of a comedian who had been on David Letterman. And his first appearance on Letterman, Letterman said there should be a show for this Ray Romano guy.
He saw something in him.
He did. And he had a development deal at CBS, so he could develop shows if he saw potential in a comedian or somebody. And then they set about looking for a writer to create a show for the comedian. That's how it works in Hollywood, for sitcoms, at least with comedians.
And they thought you were the guy to write with Ray.
They set him up on blind dates with 10 writers. I don't even think I was his first choice. I think it was a guy from Friends, which was a much bigger hit than Coach at the time. And that guy wasn't available. So he settled for me.
And the two of you meet at a diner.
We met at a diner right here. What's the diner?
Arts?
Art's Deli.
On Ventura.
Yeah. Where every sandwich is a work of art.
Do you remember what you got?
It was probably a pastrami sandwich. But I remember asking him about himself, just as I would ask you, tell me about yourself if we were going to work together for the first time. And he told me that he had, he lives in Queens. He's got twin boys and an older daughter, and his parents live close by, and they're always bothering him. And his brother's a police sergeant, and he's always touching every bite of food to his chin before he eats it. He's divorced. He lives with the parents. And he's jealous of me. He saw an award I won for stand-up comedy, he said, and he said, it never ends for Raymond Day. Everybody loves Raymond. And I said, well, it doesn't seem like there's anything there we can use. But that was his actual life. And what I didn't know about the characters, I filled in with the characters from my family and wrote and created a kind of world for them to exist in. Had the parents lived right across the street, even though that wasn't how it was in real life for him. We set it on Long Island because the network thought it might be more relatable if it was outside the city. They didn't even realize that Queens is attached to Long Island. But fine, that's fine. Those were the big changes.
Once you guys meet and you
Yeah.
think you're good for each other, is it
Yeah.
off to the races? You're creating
Yes.
this universe?
Yes. I needed his approval. I needed Letterman's approval. I needed CBS's approval because they're going to pay someone to create their show. So I never created a show before, so they're a little nervous about it.
That was a huge risk for them.
It wasn't as big a risk as then letting me run the show after we were picked up. They weren't going to let me run it because I never did this before. And I was going to quit. In fact, I did quit if they weren't going to let me run it. Why? Because I was literally writing about my family. The characters were based on me, my wife, my parents, even though the situation was Ray's real life situation.
Were they aware that this is really your chemistry of
They
what
didn't care.
they thought they could replace and put whoever else in?
They would rather have an experienced showrunner to deal with the daily problems that come up in running a show, someone with experience. You're going to let a guy drive a car, never drove a car before? Right? So that was I see where they were coming from. I just wasn't going to work on that show because I knew it wouldn't be what I wanted it to be. I was writing about my family, and I knew it wouldn't work if somebody else came in over me. They would make all the creative decisions. I didn't want that. I saved my family for when I can write them about them again. So I'm not doing that. And then maybe because I took a stand, they said, oh, maybe he has what it takes to run a show. And they let me do it.
So you create the show, they let you go, and they bring you back.
I quit, and they tried to placate me by saying, I tell you what, we'll have an experienced showrunner co-run it with you. I said, oh, if you put it that way, I quit. Because they're just saying that. He's going to be the boss.
Right.
Because why? He's had experience. And I wasn't going to live like that. I'd worked on TV shows before. I saw how it goes. And so I thought, this is my opportunity to write about my family, about stuff I really do know better than anyone. There's no, I'm not bragging. You know your family better than anyone. So did I.
You get the Friday night slot at 9 p.m.
Yes.
for Everybody Loves Raymond.
Hadn't been a hit on that in that time slot since Gomer Pyle.
No one's watching at that time.
Nope, but what's good was we were somewhat protected.
Because the bar is so low.
Another good piece of advice for anyone watching or listening is make people have low expectations of you. Yeah.
So when the show comes out,
Mhm.
what's the reception at first?
Fine. I think we got some good reviews. And the people who did watch, the 10 people that watched it Friday at 9, I think they liked it enough to come back. So we started at a kind of low number given the time slot. But we didn't lose people. Maybe gained a few even. And then something happened. They had something drop out on Mondays at 8:30. It wasn't working. And that was a good time slot. So the president of CBS said, we're going to let you try. We're going to give you 6 opportunities in that time slot.
Were the episodes already created and written at that point?
They're on.
Oh, so they're switching.
The first season, they're going to move us in the middle of season 1. They're going to move us to Mondays.
What are you and Ray thinking at this point?
Uh-oh. We're
Big
thinking,
leagues.
the big leagues. And just like being in the World Series, you could be sent home at any time if you don't win, right? So now we're very nervous. The first time we were on, Mondays at 8:30, our ratings doubled. Okay, so most normal people would think, yay. We thought, uh-oh. Why? Because the people who watched, what if they didn't like it? What about next week? So now we're on next week. What if it goes down? Then we got our opportunity. The next Monday is the real test. Do people come back now that they sampled it? Our ratings went up from there. And that's when we knew. In fact, even Variety wrote, I clipped it out and put it in my wallet because it was such a thing. Everybody Loves Raymond seems to have secured a permanent berth on Monday night. And that's when we celebrated.
That's when you think we did it.
We did it. Now, the next uh-oh is we got to keep up the level of quality. So uh-oh is every single week. We relaxed a little bit, and that second season was great. No worries at all. We were winning the time slot, everything great. CBS goes, we're now going to move you to Mondays at 9, which is an anchor position, right? Meaning like a tent pole in the middle of their night, on their biggest night. I think we replaced, Murphy Brown was going off the air, and we're taking that spot. Uh-oh. What are we opposite now? Nothing, just Monday Night Football and Ally McBeal, the other huge show that was on. So now here we are nervous again.
For season 2.
Season 3, that would have been. And you think you I want people to understand, you're never comfortable. You never can get too comfortable. It's always, you never know what's coming down the pike. And I've had that my entire career. I have it right now. I don't know that Somebody Feed Phil is picked up for next season. I have no idea, even though we're one of their longest running shows in their history, Netflix. 8 seasons, that never happens.
And around the world, too.
Around the world. But This could be it. The Netflix likes shows that run 2-3 seasons. You know that. The good news was, after 3 months of losing to Monday Night Football and Ally McBeal, within 3 months we were beating both of them. So that this seems to have hit a nerve with America. They like this kind of family sitcom. And it ran for 9 years.
You create Everybody Loves Raymond. Is the network putting marketing budget behind you? Are you in ads and TV Guide? Is Ray going on late night promoting the show? Or is this just happening?
We didn't get the media attention that something like Sex and the City would get at that time.
Why do you think?
We weren't sex.
That's what sells.
We were the opposite of sex. All our jokes were about how Ray doesn't get sex. So, so we were the I don't know, not cool show, but the show most of America watched. We were the number one sitcom for a while, and it was a joy. We just didn't get. We weren't on the cover of magazines. We weren't on the cover of Entertainment Weekly, let's say, until we went off the air. Our last week. Oh, we'll miss you, Raymond. You never noticed us because we weren't the hip, cool show. And guess what? After Raymond was over, I thought my purpose in life was to write another sitcom, and nobody wanted it because the business changed in the 9 years that we were doing that show. And I don't think Everybody Loves Raymond would have even gotten on the air.
9 years later.
Yeah. Listen, we had trouble getting on the air the year we got on the air because the family sitcom, as successful as it's always been in television, it's always been a building block of a network. The show that the whole family can watch together. The family you can name them right off the top of your head. The ones that have been great. They're not cool. I have a theory about this, that the executives themselves don't want the not cool thing on their resume. They want, when they get fired, to say, look how relevant I was. I did Sex and the City. I did Friends. I did the young, cool shows. Not the one about the family. There wouldn't be a hit family sitcom after Raymond for 5 years.
And what was it?
Modern Family. And even that had to be modern. It had to be single camera, right? They didn't like even the format of the 4-camera sitcom that we were. We were old-fashioned, purposefully, proudly. We wanted to create a type of show that was kind of like theater from my background, because there's nothing more exciting than having a studio full of audience members laughing. And it was great for Ray, too, having been a stand-up comedian. He's used to live people laughing. And so we love that. When it's done right, the 4-camera sitcom is this perfect in-between theater and film.
With the explosion of Modern Family, what
Yes.
do you think about this new medium and the way it's shot and just the way that the audience reacts to it?
Like every medium, it's all about the content, not the style. The mistake that the networks made was they thought the style was the thing that's wrong with those sitcoms. No, it's the content. If you have a crappy one, then it's crappy. And that can be crappy single camera or multi-camera. It's all about the content. What are you watching? There's all kinds of rules that can be broken. I was just talking about this morning. 30 Rock is an example of a rule breaker to me. To me, it was always, you've got to make the characters fleshed out and as relatable as possible, as believable as possible as human beings, okay? So that the audience can relate to them. If you just go for jokes, if you're just about the jokes, meaning any character can say any joke, then you're only as good as your last joke. Even if your character that wouldn't say that in real life, then you're only as good as your last joke, and you live and die by that sword. 30 Rock, the jokes are so funny that you don't care. Yes, that's not how people talk every day, but you don't care. It's this close to a sketch, that show, right? But it's so funny, and the writing is so expertly done, and the comedy is so fantastic, it works. You don't care. You accept that it's not real life. It's not trying to be.
Would you watch other shows like Friends, King of Queens, Seinfeld to see what other people were doing at that time?
Sure, couldn't help it. It was, first of all, 3 networks, right? We didn't have Netflix. We didn't have streaming. We didn't have the internet. So this everybody watched. That's all there was.
What did you think when streaming first came out?
Amazing. What a world of choices. Now, too many choices. Nothing. What breaks through? You have to be even better. And it doesn't even matter if you're good, because you're never going to get the audience that network TV got.
Because it's so split up.
Yeah. Let's say you have a Netflix show. You're competing with everything on Netflix for their attention. Not to mention every other streamer, every other TV station around the world, and the internet, which has billions of choices. Billions? We had 3 networks. Yeah, it was amazing.
Recently, the 30-year anniversary of Everybody Loves Raymond came around.
Yeah.
How did you feel reuniting with everyone, seeing the set?
It's a joy. It was a joy. And they surprised us by recreating the set.
Exactly.
I mean, down to the refrigerator magnets. I mean, some of the stuff was actually original, that they found the props and everything, and that kudos to our prop master, who was the prop master then.
Was that just in a
The
warehouse?
set designer. They had stuff. They found stuff. They found the actual, couch. They found stuff. And then they recreated the set perfectly. That entire set now is in a museum on Long Island. Yeah. They put it on trucks after we filmed and sent it to the museum in Long Island.
What was the feeling for you after each season was finished? You did it. It's complete. The audiences loved it.
Because it happened to me when I was 35 when we started, and I'd been in show business already since I was 21, and I had been working on television shows for 5 years before Raymond. I appreciated every single second of working on that show. So it wasn't like, oh, I wish I had appreciated it when it was happening, but I was too busy. No. Yes, I was busy, but at the same time, I remember saying to the cast, like, we would film an episode, and the very next day we would all gather on the set to read next week's episode. And before every reading, I would say, I want to thank everybody for that great show last night. It was phenomenal. I was so happy. And I can't help thinking we're not the lucky people. We're the very, very, very lucky people. So if you have that attitude and you're grateful for the golden opportunity to get to make a television show, especially if you love TV. I have a TV show. I have my own TV show. There's no better feeling in the world. And I love these people. Raymond was about a family, made for families, and within a very short time, it was being made by a family.
Did you ever run out of ideas for Everybody Loves Raymond?
Yeah, we started to run out of ideas, which is why we stopped. We were not canceled. We said, it's enough. They backed up the money truck. They said, how about this?
And you turned it down?
Yep, because I knew it was designed. The show was actually designed to have lasting value. Why? Because here's my opportunity to have a TV show. What do you want to focus on? I'd like it to be, if I could have my dream, I'd like it to be timeless, not timely. My favorite shows are the ones that take place on planet Earth, meaning you believe them. They're relatable. They believe them as people. What do I mean? Well, The Honeymooners was in that ballpark. All in the Family, The Dick Van Dyke Show, The Odd Couple. Do you remember that show? That was great. Taxi, Mary Tyler Moore, maybe the best. So I wanted to emulate those shows. I wanted to at least go for that, which means that 30 years later, you're still watching them and you're still laughing because there's no topical jokes. So we didn't put topical jokes like jokes about the president or jokes about, famous movie stars of the moment. We focused on the relatable stuff of everyday life that seems to be timeless. Fight with your spouse, fight with your parents, fight with your kids, fight with your brother. All things that are, I think, the stuff of life, right?
How do you feel as a creator if you leaned into topical stuff? Do you think that Raymond would have hit a different level or audience,
It might have been a hipper show for the moment, and
but it
then
would have fallen off later
and then
on?
forgotten. I think the reason we're celebrating 30 years of being on the air, right? Even though we were on the network for 9 years, it's never left the air. It's still on and may still be on for a long time. Why? Because it's not dated. I worked on shows where you wrote a joke, a topical joke, it was dated before it aired. So if, again, you live by that sword, you die by that sword.
What is the relationship like with you and Ray throughout this entire show? Are you hanging out even in the off season just to figure out where the show should go in the direction of it?
Didn't need to do that, but we became best friends to the point where, to this day, our families still go on vacation together every year.
Where'd you guys go
The-
recently?
We went to Maui over Christmas,
Fun.
and it was fun. We go to Cabo, we've been to the Caribbean, and the kids all grew up together on the set of the show. They would come after school to visit their daddies at work, and it was a joy.
Looking back,
Yeah.
you're known for having an incredible set, the best catering.
Very important, by the way.
Why?
The Army travels on its stomach. And this was essential to me. Why? I love it. I realized early on that, at least in the writer's room, and I worked on shows where you're in the writer's room, sometimes 12-hour days, the only sunshine coming in the room is the menu that you get to order delivery from. So if the food is good, you at least have this bright spot in your day. And then craft service, which is the food that's on the set for the crew and everybody. If that's great, it can make a difference. And I worked on shows. I worked on a show that was popular, and a memo went around. And the memo said this. This is true. We noticed some of you are coming in the morning and putting milk on your cereal. The milk is for coffee. The cereal is for snacks. Please do not put milk on your cereal. We do not provide breakfast for you.
Great way to ruin the environment.
Well, all it does is make you go, wow, what cheap bastards, because this is a hit show. Why are you nickel and diming everyone who works here? Why? I thought right then and there, if I'm ever lucky enough to have my own show, we're going to have milk on our cereal.
Because you knew that it would build the morale amongst the people and make them want to be there.
And by the way, when I say we're going to have milk on our cereal, it's the bare minimum of what I wanted to do. And then when I got my own show, I talked to the production team. There's a role on a show called line producer. Their only job is to make sure that the show runs financially, responsibly. I said, I don't care about your total budget. We're going to have the best craft service in Los Angeles.
And you did.
We would bring in food from other cities to have backstage. We had a full-time guy, a chef, who was making fresh soups and sandwiches and specialties. Like, you went backstage, you're like, he had a kitchen. And other shows have this, but this guy was awesome. And you couldn't wait to go to work because what is he going to have today? And then, oh my God, on show night, we're bringing in the food trucks backstage. So here's In-N-Out Burger. Here's a taco guy. Here's a guy there's the Trumpo. They're carving stuff. It's a party. So what does that do? It helps create a family.
And do you fix that into the budget so that everybody...
We took money from other parts of the budget. I said, I tell you what, we're not going to need to build a lot of different sets for the show. Most of the show is taking place in the living room and the kitchen, which is permanent. The money gets spent when you have to build, the mall. They go to the mall, and I have to build the mall. We're not doing that a lot. Let's spend it on food.
How difficult of a decision is it for you guys to go traveling and film on location somewhere in that time?
We did it once.
Italy.
And it took years to convince Ray to go. In fact, that brings us to Somebody Feed Phil. Why? Because it was during that show, during the making of the Italy episode of Everybody Loves Raymond, that I saw Ray Romano, the person, get the magic of travel and follow exactly what I wrote for the character, based on the real Ray, who actually didn't want to go to Italy because he was a little afraid of flying. He still doesn't like getting on planes.
And once he gets to Italy, he comes back. What does he think?
Now he goes all the time. But I saw it happen to him in real life, not just what we wrote and what you see on the show. It happened to him. Oh, I get it. First of all, the food's amazing. The people's amazing. The place is beautiful. It's a different way to be, which is the best thing about travel. Right then and there, that was the year 2000. We filmed that episode. I thought, oh, what a great feeling this is to turn my friend on to something that might change his life. What if I could do this for other people? So now that's in the back of my mind. And I forget about it because why? Raymond goes on to be on the air for 9 years, and I think my purpose is to write sitcoms. And then nobody wants the next sitcom or the next one. And so after striking out for a couple of years, after having had a successful sitcom, I turned to this other good idea or wish of the travel show.
And was the idea always you in front of the camera at this point?
It was. I had made a documentary where I brought the Russians had called me and asked me to come to Moscow and help them turn my sitcom into Everybody Loves Kostya. And I said, whoa, yeah, I'll do that if I can film the whole process. And they said after months of deliberation, yes. So I went to Russia, and I didn't even think, oh, I'm going to be the center of this film. Why? Because it's about a guy who goes, a showrunner, who thinks he's an expert in something and goes to a land where nobody cares. It's called Exporting Raymond. And you can find it. It was played on HBO for a long time. But you can find it on iTunes and Amazon. Now, it's my family's favorite movie because of how much I suffered in the making of this movie. Thinking I'm Mr. Big Shot going to Russia and they're going to listen to me. No, they don't listen to me. But that was my kind of, I didn't realize it, but it was my segue from writer to subject of the show. And I guess it was a good calling card because I could show that film to people who would see a fish out of water guy. And I realized that's actually the basis for a good travel show. There was Bourdain. I sold my show, actually, finally, to PBS, was the first place, with one line. And the line was, I'm exactly like Anthony Bourdain if he was afraid of everything. And they bought it.
And did they love that you were a past showrunner? So you knew how to make a show work at a budget?
I think that actually might have helped in their decision that they weren't giving it to somebody without experience. But they told me when I said that line, we've actually been looking for a food and travel show with humor for years. And so they gave me 6 episodes on the air. And it turns out that that's all they could afford to do. But thank goodness this new startup company called Netflix came along. Had to change the title, but that became Somebody Feed Phil the next year.
And when you do that first travel show, is it profitable for the network?
For PBS?
Yeah.
No idea. I think we were their #1 new show. And we
they
won the James Beard Award for Best Travel Show from those first 6. So we knew we were onto something, a good formula at least. And Netflix liked it enough to pick it up.
And did they let you do anything you want? You went to the places you wanted to?
Absolutely.
You ate the restaurants you wanted to eat at?
Absolutely. The thing about Netflix is, you get notes from Netflix, especially then when they were starting, but you didn't have to do them. The notes were much tougher at PBS.
How come? Because it wasn't streaming?
I don't know why. They had very set ideas into what they thought their audience wanted. But to be honest, you say, whenever you get a note, and this happened, on Raymond all the time, especially when we started, I'll take a look at that. And I mean it. I will take a look at that. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it. Because at the end of the day, the best advice I ever got was from an old showrunner. He said, do the show you want to do, because in the end, they're going to cancel you anyway.
I love that quote.
Isn't that great? That's how you should live your life. It's your life, right? Why would I take everybody else's advice and not enjoy it? Got to do what you feel is right. Again, like on Raymond, I was writing about my family. Nobody could tell me that it wasn't right.
Having two incredibly successful shows, as the seasons are continuing, do you have more leverage of what you want to do and what you want to say?
I will say, like for Raymond, for example, the notes went away after it was successful.
You know what you're
Meaning-
doing. You know
meaning-
the audience.
Second season, they got bigger fires to put out. They don't need to waste time on the show that's working. They have to fix everything that's not working and cultivate new shows and make sure they're working. So they kind of take you for granted a little bit. They're fine.
Some networks back then would take
Yeah.
care of the creators and the cast,
Yeah.
and they give them Mercedes and car. Are you getting anything at that point?
The perks of Raymond were incredible because it was a co-production of CBS and HBO.
So two networks.
So HBO had like all these specials that they were filming, like we got to go to see the Rolling Stones in San Francisco. We're filming the Rolling Stones. You want to come? Hell yeah, we want to come. There's a big prize fight in Vegas. You want to come? Yeah, we want to come. CBS, we're filming the Jackson 5 reunion at Madison Square Garden. You want to come? Yeah, we want to come. They like seeing their stars in the audience that they can cut to. And we're like, sure, it was fun. I don't know that exists anymore. I'm sure it does for, the top 1% of everything. That's always been like that. But for a while, we were in that world.
Other than that, where else did it feel like you guys were the 1% of the sitcoms and the television, and you had that massive following?
I guess the awards. I guess, won some Emmys. So that's nice. I mean, to me, the Emmy Awards especially, or I would imagine on a bigger scale, the Oscars for people, you get nominated, it's wonderful, right? The moment after you're nominated, you go, oh no. Because why? You got to prepare what to say. Especially if you're a writer, you can't be a dope. You got to say something funny, first of all, and you got to do it right. And the pressure's enormous. And then you're sweating the whole time up to the awards, sitting through 3 hours of awards. And then 90% of the time, it's not you. So you put all this thought into it. And once you have the speech that you think is good, now you want to win because you want to say the thing. It's a fool's game. It's for idiots to think that way. Yeah, I don't know how people do it who just are cool and like, yeah, no award. No, it's not the award. It's the having to get up in front of the world that's watching. That's terrifying. If you've ever spoken in public, I think you people, that's one of their number one fears is speaking in public. Well, this is ultimate speaking in public, maybe. And then you lose. And then you're like, ugh, I was an idiot to care about it. And then it happens next year. If you're lucky, it happens next year. And then when we won, it was a great shock to the system. And it was, we have the awards now. And I look at the award when I look at it, which I don't, because what is it? It's just a thing. It's like these things. They're just mementos of, for me, a nice evening I got to share with my friends. That's it.
What else do you have in your office of things that are important to you, or at one point was just a great memory?
I guess we have these awards and other things, but more meaningful, honestly, pictures of my kids, my family, my parents, things like this. That's the real stuff. You can't sleep at night with your Emmy. You live with the memories. This is the first I've spoken about Emmy Awards in I don't know how many years. It never came up. It doesn't come up in normal conversation.
Throughout all the years, were you always just so happy to be able to
Yes.
make what you wanted to?
Yes, that's everything. To do work that you love with people that you love may be the secret of life.
Did you get to handpick everybody on set, cast, and crew?
You trust the people who know better to flesh out the staff, and on a sitcom, it's like 150 people. So I don't know all these people. So I trust the head person of that division. The network tells you these are the good people. You meet with them. You make sure they're not an axe murderer. But I was going to write a book called Everyone's Nice in the Meeting because you never know how crazy someone is until you actually are in bed with them or start working with them, how crazy they may turn out to be. And sure enough, there's always a couple of crazies. Most of the time, they're not. Most people are sweet and nice and great. But once in a while, I don't have to tell you, everybody knows this, that once in a while you get you know.
Other than Everybody Loves Raymond,
Yes.
what other sitcom writing did you love of that era?
Oh my God, there were so many shows. I mean, Seinfeld made me laugh every single week. I talk about Friends sometimes because I think that was the exception to the rule, meaning most people that look like that never need to be funny. They don't cultivate that muscle of funny. If you look like this, you better be funny. So the Friends is the exception to the rule. And the only problem with the show Friends is that people, network executives and studio executives thought, just cast the beautiful people. So the Xeroxes of Friends were never as good as Friends because Friends was the exception.
Because they also had that muscle.
They were funny and charming and cute and great and really talented. The cast was amazing. The best part of that show was that cast. But that doesn't happen all the time. God doesn't give with both hands, right?
Were there ever opportunities of almost collaborating with these other sitcoms?
We did what you're talking about as crossover shows, right?
Yeah.
We did it with King of Queens. We did it with The Nanny that was on at the same time. Fran and I have become great friends since then. I think she's wonderful. Kevin James actually started on Raymond. He was one of Ray's friends in real life. And then on the show, we cast him on the show too. Always great to see. His show did phenomenally well too.
Why did the networks want like Long Island, Queens?
I don't know. Because Raymond works, so why not have like a companion?
But why is it never like Montana? I mean, now it's like Yellowstone, but it's different. But like of the sitcom era or Florida.
I think that cities and a New York kind of mindset is more prone to conflict.
Craziness can happen.
People in the Midwest seem to get along more. However, Roseanne broke that rule, right? Where were they set? I think it was the Midwest, wasn't it?
It might be.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. This is just a crazy theory, but I think there's a certain sense of humor that comes from living in a congested place. And a lot of the comedians come from that. Jerry Seinfeld, Ray Romano, Kevin James. They come from that world. So you go with the funny people where you're from. We'll film there.
Right. How do you go about selecting where you want to highlight on Somebody Feeds Phil?
Well, the first several seasons, even into now, it starts with where I'd love to go and where I'd love to either go for the first time or a place that I love in my travels that I want to show everybody. And so it starts with that. And now we get calls from tourism boards, come. We'd like you to highlight our place. We'll even help you make the show. Fantastic. But first we have to research it. So we do deep research. A great example of this, a place I never expected to go in my life, was Tbilisi in the former Soviet Georgia. It's between Turkey and Russia is where Georgia is, Soviet Georgia, former Soviet Georgia. Do the research. Well, the place looks kind of fantastic and the food looks kind of amazing. Let's check it out. So we check it out. Turns out we should definitely do a show there. And so we went. It's one of our best episodes we've ever done.
So you sometimes go to places beforehand, research it. This is the spot to do. Let's do it.
We didn't do it in that case. We just did research of online, which you can do, see everything, see even YouTube videos about it, see stuff. And I have a production team in New York who used to be Bourdain's production team. So they have fixers, what they call fixers, all over the world. And the fixers are literally the people that fix you up with the town or the city that you're going to go to. And handle all the technical details of filming in that place.
In all of your travels in America,
Mhm.
which place blew you away?
Lately, I think Detroit is amazing. Have you been there?
I have.
There's this renaissance happening in the least likely places in the United States and around the world. And what I'm noticing is a common thread. And it may be the theme of not just this past season of Somebody Feed Phil, but maybe the entire series and maybe life on Earth. And you know what it is? Immigrants. We are a country of them. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. The immigrants and our diversity is actually America's superpower. This is what makes America great. This is what you live in Los Angeles. You are one of the luckiest people in the world. Why? Because the whole world is here. Even if you never get to travel, the world has come to you if you live in LA. But the more I travel around the United States, the more I see incredible cities made great by their immigrant population that has lent everything to the city in terms of culture and cuisine that make life worth living. So you can have the Chinese meal of your life in Orlando, Florida. And I'm not talking about Epcot. I'm talking about around it. Same with Vegas. I'm not talking about the Strip. I'm talking about the immigrants who have come and built the Las Vegas Strip and Disney World and maintained these places over decades and set up their communities around them. So I got to say, like we made the Orlando episode, yeah, come to Disney World, bring your family. I'm sure you'll have a great time. But the real Magic Kingdom is the real world outside it, of the people who have come to settle there and open their restaurants and open their pizza places and open their cafes. It's absolutely astounding, some of the food I've had. Some of the best food I ever had was a place called Crocante, which is a Puerto Rican restaurant that's so phenomenal. I've been there 3 times now in Orlando, Florida. I'm going back. Next week. I'm going.
Where are your favorites in Los Angeles?
Oh my God, we don't have time. This is how much time you have on this show.
We can keep going forever.
I mean, listen, I have so many. There, I live right next to Koreatown, and I have so many favorites there. My favorite Korean barbecue, let's say, is Sitbul Jeep. Have you been there?
No.
The reason it's my favorite is because I love Korean barbecue, but all of them are over gas fire. This has been grandfathered in for generations. Real charcoal, real wood.
Wow. So you get to...
Makes all the difference. If you can have real charcoal Korean barbecue, you'll never go back to the other. Also, right in Koreatown, it's I love the San Gabriel Valley. Best Chinese food, anywhere outside of China. The biggest population of Chinese people outside of China is in the San Gabriel Valley. You can visit every province of China by just going to the different neighborhoods in the San Gabriel Valley. And so if you love Sichuan food, you have to go out there to get the real, the peppercorn, which has that spicy but numbing, like 3D effect in your mouth. Well, you always had to go there to get it. But a guy opened on Western a few blocks from my house. So I'm in love with it. It's called Once More. You should go. It's great.
Where's your favorite Thai in Los Angeles?
Gelato.
Love it.
Love it. They're so great. And Jack. We have a lot. We have Love to Eat Thai. There's so many. And there's so many
just
pizza.
passed Love to Eat Thai.
Yes, you got to go. We have, I think we're having a pizza moment here. I think the pizza's just as good as anywhere in the world now.
Have you had Sonny's?
No, I'm dying to go. You've had it?
No, but that's on my list.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
All right.
We have to order it at 12 on the dot when it opens on a website. That's the only way to get it.
And when can you pick it up?
I think they give you time slots that you can pick from.
Let's go right now. What, did we miss 12 o'clock?
We are done. And Not a Damn Chance Burger just opened up here too.
I don't know what that is.
That's supposed to be one of the best burgers. It's by the same person who owns Sushi by Scratch and Pasta
I did
Bar.
hear about it. It goes by the letters, not the
NDAC.
Yes, that's it.
It just
Okay.
opened up in Westwood.
Ah. Have you had it?
Not yet.
All right, now
We'll
we
do a
have 2
tour.
dates. Okay, good.
Where's your favorite dessert spot here in Los Angeles?
Oh my God. In Koreatown, they have the shave ice things with the ice cream underneath and the fruit. That's pretty great. And should I plug my diner?
Please.
I'm only thinking of it because when I eat dessert, we put so much research into making like the best milkshake you ever had. We Nancy Silverton and I went on a crawl of everywhere that makes a milkshake, and we had these preconceived notions. We thought the best milkshakes are going to be made with soft serve because that seems to be the great consistency. Doesn't work at all. It's too thick, and the flavor isn't there. The consistency of a milkshake actually affects the flavor. If you get a hernia trying to suck it up through the straw and it's so cold and hard, you can't really taste anything if a food is, let's say, too cold, right? Ice cream has to be the right temperature, the right consistency for the flavor to get through. It can't be melted and it can't be too cold. So what's this perfect thing? And we tried everything. And we found the closest thing, the one we wanted to emulate was Fair Oaks Pharmacy in Pasadena. Have you been there? Well, we thought they must be using the highest premium ice cream. We thought that was, and we tried places that had the highest premium ice cream, the most expensive. Well, also didn't work. What the hell? What's wrong? Well, what are they doing? What kind of ice cream? Do you mind if we ask? You know what they use?
What?
Thrifty. Not kidding. There's something about the emulsifiers and things that make it not too soft and not too hard, just right. Goldilocks, right in the middle, perfect. And then Nancy compensates for the butterfat content that's not in Thrifty ice cream by using half and half. So she pours some of that in. We blend it just right, and then the Oreo shake is the best Oreo anything I've ever had in my life, including Oreos. Mason, who's our head chef under Nancy, he's got something called Mason's Malted, which is a malted, not a shake, with the malt powder, right? Has that certain kind of nutty flavor. It's fantastic. It's a peanut butter Oreo shake. That's, you want to kill somebody to get it.
You've invested in previous restaurants prior,
I have.
but this is the first time that you're really at the forefront of it.
This from the ground up, yeah.
What made you want to do it on this concept?
I went to a diner in Maine on the show. It's in the show, in the main episode. You could see it. It's called the Palace Diner, and it's great.
I love Maine food. I love all the lobster rolls there.
Me too. But this is a diner. It was an old abandoned railroad dining car, 15 seats at a counter. A dining car of a railroad from 100 years ago, and was sitting on a vacant lot in Biddeford, Maine. And I heard it's the best diner you'll ever go to. So I'm like, well, I love diners. Let's go. And the chef came from Gramercy Tavern in New York, took over the diner. It was like a dream of his. Greg Mitchell is his name. He had a very small menu of pancakes, waffles, burgers, diner food for 15 people. Every single thing I tried that day on the show was the best that I ever had. I went all over the world that season on Somebody Feed Phil, and the meal that I couldn't stop thinking about was that. Why? Because when you have the best version of a thing you've loved since you were a kid, this comfort food from childhood, it's like that Ratatouille moment where the critic zooms back to childhood. It becomes your favorite thing, and I was obsessing about it. This is, I think, what we crave. I don't crave a 4-star French tasting menu. My back hurts just thinking about it. I've been lucky enough in my life to have had more than I think most people, or more than I'd ever need to have again. But if I can have the best bacon and eggs, I'm going to remember that. That's going to be very special because I even said to him, this is the best thing I ever had. He goes, well, it's a pretty low bar. And I go, no, it's the highest bar because We all know this food. We're all experts in this food. We grew up with this. We know this food better than anything else, any other food. We're all your worst critic because we're comparing it with our literal memories. Has to be great. So that became the challenge. I want to make a great diner, and I want it in my neighborhood selfishly because I want to go there. And so I asked Nancy Silverton, who lives in the neighborhood too, and we've been friends for 30 years. And she said, yes, I want to do it right away. Just, she got it immediately, the concept. And so I have a great designer. Took a while for a spot to open up on Larchmont Boulevard,
That was
which
always
is
the vision.
Yeah, because that's the main street in our town. It's a 100-year-old, neighborhood. I said I want it to look like, told the designer, I want it to look like this diner's been here for 100 years too, as a tribute to the neighborhood, as a gift to the neighborhood even. Celebrate the neighborhood. So on the wall, you have pictures of what Larchmont looked like through the years, starting as far back as we had a photograph of from the 1920s for 100 years. Nancy chose a chef that my daughter happened to be dating at the time to run the place under her. So he's the director of operations, Mason Royal. He's opened like 17 restaurants for other people. But now this is going to be the car he's driving. He's going to be the showrunner of the place. And my daughter works with him in the diner, and they got married the week before the diner opened. So it's like a love story is going on in the diner, but that's not even the sweetest part about it. The sweetest part about the whole thing is it's named after my parents. It's called Max and Helens. And every single ingredient of every single item on that menu has been really carefully considered and thought about. And so I can honestly say it's the best waffle I've ever had in my life, the best hot chocolate I've ever had in my life, the best tuna melt I ever had in my life. This is just my opinion, but it seems to be going well. It seems to be the apotheosis of everything I love in life, just like the shows. And that there's a theme running through my life now, it seems. I found my way to the luckiest life I could possibly have because it incorporates family, friends, food, travel, and laughs. And you'll see that in my show, and you'll see that at my diner, and you'll see it in my life.
They say show business is some of the toughest business.
Yeah.
What were some of the biggest hurdles when creating a restaurant?
Oh my God, the city. Number one hurdle is this city.
Permits.
Yeah. That the most expensive part of doing the diner is waiting for the city to look at to answer the phone. You can't even get them on the phone. There's a problem. I've talked to the mayor about it. Even with the mayor, there's stuff that's still not done. Really. It's shocking to me how the levels of bureaucracy we have to get through to get anything done. First, we had to wait for an existing restaurant on Larchmont to go out because there's an ordinance there. You can't put a restaurant into a non-existing restaurant space. Don't know why. If everything's going to be code anyway, well, who the hell cares? I don't understand it, but that took years, and then at least 2 years after to get the permits. The whole time we're paying rent on a space we can't use.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's crazy. Then, a lot of restaurants go under because they can't afford the rent of the place. That's first. And all the headaches that you get. And at any moment, they could come and shut you down.
Would you ever open up a second Max and Helens? Or is this the only one?
We fantasize about having Max and Helens in the great cities of the world because the design of it is very specific, and there's a whole vibe that goes with it. So we could see it being like fetishized in Tokyo and have the fantasy of, oh, well, we have to go to Tokyo to see how the place is doing, right? So, or Paris or London, places where we think this whole gestalt of the American old school diner is welcomed. And if the food is as good as it can be, then it becomes people's favorite thing.
Is there anything else that you want to add to the menu that you're working on now?
So many things. So many things. So we have this little window to do that, which is, first of all, we have a very small kitchen. But the way around that is to have daily specials. So you can bring in stuff. And like, what's today? Wednesday? Today's fried chicken day.
How often are you there?
Every day. I'll have dinner there tonight. Yeah, every day.
And what are you going for?
Eggs mostly in the morning. Sandwiches, tuna melts. My favorite dinner thing is a hot open-faced turkey sandwich with gravy, mashed potatoes, and cranberry sauce.
And you have a wide array of milkshakes. What are you going for?
I think the peanut butter Oreo is my new favorite, but they're all good. I'm a chocolate guy. We have chocolate egg creams, like from Brooklyn.
Are egg creams rare to have on a diner menu?
Maybe on the West Coast, but on the East Coast, which I'd say the flavor of the diner is because that's where we grew up. You know what it is, an egg cream?
My dad was a soda jerk, and he made those for me as a kid. So when I saw it on your menu,
Oh.
we have to try it.
You do have to try. You haven't been yet.
I have been.
Oh, great.
Incredible.
So there's a couple of secrets to why that's so good. It's usually made with no egg and no cream, and it's as has been for a century. But it's made with milk, chocolate sauce, usually Fox's You Bet, and seltzer. That's an egg cream. A perfectly great egg cream. How do you elevate that? Well, what if it wasn't milk? What if it was half and half? Oh, now it's, you're getting a richer experience, right? And what if it wasn't Fox's You Bet, which is a processed chocolate syrup from a factory? What if it was Nancy Silverton made her own chocolate syrup? Now you're talking. And then it becomes the best egg cream you ever have. Why? Because the ingredients. And that philosophy has found its way into every single dish, the ingredients. When you cut open an egg at the diner, we're used to pale yellow yolks, the cheapest possible eggs. It's what we expect from most diners. Well, what if you cut into that egg and it had that golden amber yolk that you would find in Europe or a great restaurant? Wouldn't that elevate your bacon and eggs? And then if the bacon was this beautifully sourced bacon from a really great place where the flavor knocked you out at how great it was, yeah, it becomes a thing. I'm very into this, as you can see.
What's some of your what country do you think has the best food in Europe?
Oh, wow. It's a toss-up for me between Italy, Spain, and France. I'm gonna say Italy.
I'm
Might be
surprised
my
France is on
favorite.
that list. Is it from the pastries?
Even if you're not having the fancy French meal, any bistro, like a roast chicken there is pretty awesome.
And
I
what kind of dish are you getting in Italy?
Oh, any pasta. Any pasta becomes like the best thing you ever ate. It's pretty great. I love all the food. I love everything there. The steaks, everything is phenomenal. But, I've been to Spain now more. We just did a show in the Basque Country, San Sebastian. Have you ever been to that area of the world? Wow, is that good? Watch that episode. You'll book a trip. There's a way of life in San Sebastian, which is you can spend the day bar hopping. Every bar has little appetizers called pinchos that are like tapas. They're pretty much the same thing, but each bar has their specialties. So you'd have a glass of wine and one or two of these tapas, pinchos, and then go to the next bar, which might be right across the street with no cars or next door, and you can just spend hours doing that and then dinner. Like a sit-down dinner. And then the chefs are so crazy. After working all day, they put on a meal for themselves. Everyone brings like a potluck, but the world's greatest potluck. Like, you can't believe how spectacular the food is. This is all in the show, by the way. You could see it. It's another way of life. And then Japan is also on another level. You been there?
That's on my list.
Gotta go. You gotta go. It changes your life when you see these places that do things differently from how we live every day.
I just got back from Birmingham, UK yesterday. And
did?
I booked my layover in Frankfurt, Germany because I wanted the best pretzel. I got the most stale pretzel in the airport I've
no.
ever had.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Lufthansa lounge has very good pretzels.
I
Is
did-
that
I-
where you were?
I didn't go in the lounge because there was a long line, and my layover was like an hour and a half, so I didn't have too
So
much
you
time.
got from a kiosk in the airport. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. It's actually the reason if I fly through, I stop at that lounge to get that pretzel.
I can't believe I didn't go to the lounge.
I'm sorry.
That's a bummer.
It's a bummer.
Your daughter, you and Lily, you guys wrote
Yes.
a book. Well,
Yes.
I'd love to get into that in a second, but let's say that you're taking your kids out on a family trip.
Mm.
You're obviously a huge foodie. Are you meticulous about where you're taking everybody? Does every meal have to be perfect, or are you ever, let's just walk and find something that looks okay?
Both. I want some surefire home runs because we're going to the place that we'd like to see the food that the place is famous for, right? The best restaurant in each place. We'd love to see that if we can. But I can honestly say I've had some of the meals of my life by walking into a corner place that we never gave two thoughts to. Let's just eat for a second. We're starving. Let's just eat. Boom. But this can happen to you. That's why travel is so fantastic. And that experience doesn't even have to be food. You can meet a person that changes your life that way. Or see something in a museum that you never thought, I guess we have to go to the museum. Okay. Oh my God. Seeing the David in Florence. Right? Something that will stay with you for the rest of your life. A work of art. You go, well, I think that's the greatest work of art I've ever seen. That happens. So that can change you fundamentally. It becomes, a way of life. You want to see more art, let's say. And with food, again, one of the great things about living in Los Angeles or New York or now many other cities in the country that have a diverse population is you can be in another country and have something that you never had before and then come home and look online and you can find cow soy here from 100 different places. That's amazing.
It's the best part of LA.
Yes.
What
It-
made you and Lily want to write a book together?
Oh, we it was Lily's idea. She called me a few years ago and she said, "Hey, you're good with kids on the show and kids like you. Why don't you write a kids book?" And I said, "Great idea if you'll do it with me." And so we wrote Just Try It about a dad who eats everything and his little girl who won't eat anything, and it was called Just Try It.
Was that true to Lily as a child?
A little bit. It was more me. I was more like the kid when growing up, that I was very picky because my parents were not chefs. They were not good cooks. Lily and Ben, they've been exposed to some of the best food in the world at an early age, and they took to it immediately. But we thought it's funnier and we have a story, if the kid doesn't want to try it, we call it Just Try It. And it can be for kids and their parents who, it's tough to get the kid to eat. And we thought this was universal. This became a New York Times bestseller, and so Simon & Schuster signed us up for 3 more books. This is the second book, and we thought if it's going to be a series of books, why don't we concentrate on things that kids are afraid to try, not just food. So this is called Just Try It Someplace New. So little Lily is afraid of going to stay over at grandma's house for the first time. What's it going to be? Well, I'm comfy in my room. I have all the things I love are in my room. I love my room. I don't want to sleep at somebody else's house, especially grandma's house where she's old and everything in it's going to be old and scary. And so it's about getting over your fears. The best kids book we realized are the ones that transcend being kids books. So we're talking to parents too. How many grown-ups do you know who won't try new things? Who won't try even a food that sounds weird to them? I always say, "What? You're not 5. What's the worst thing that can happen? You don't like it." But the trying is its own reward, because just trying it means you might find the love of your life. You might find something that's fantastic and changes you. So I've always been a just try it guy.
When does the book come out?
March 10th.
It's going to be linked down below if you guys want to get it. Do you know what the next concept is going to be?
It might be anything from just try it, get a new pet, or just try it, a new brother, right? Or just try it getting on an airplane. The world is full of just try it's. We're not doing anything illegal. We're not trying an illegal thing. It should be called just try it, asterisk, within reason.
What's your favorite part about going down all these new avenues and lanes of something that is completely foreign?
I'm usually against it. My brother, who's the producer on the show with me, his job is to push me out of my comfort zone so that I'll do stupid things and he can laugh. So like getting in a race car and going 187 miles an hour with a professional driver in a Ferrari on an F1 track, that's the worst thing that ever happened to me. But I did live through it. Am I glad I did it? Yeah, I guess so, because I proved that I could do it, I guess, to myself. It was horrible, but I did it, and I'm not afraid of it anymore. Do I want to do it again? No. I also didn't want to jump into the freezing cold water off the shore of Ireland. But I did that, and I lived. And that actually changed me a bit, because I didn't enjoy it. It's excruciating, in fact, to jump in such cold water, and you scream. I lasted maybe 30 seconds, but there was something about it that was invigorating, which is why people do it. And I guess if I did it all the time, I would get used to it. Well, guess what? Since that day, that was 6 years ago, every single shower that I take, I end by turning on the cold for 30 seconds.
That's impressive.
And one of the things, I'm used to it now. So that shock has diminished. Why? Because I'm expecting it. I know exactly what it's going to feel like. It's still like, oh, like this. But it does a couple of things. One is you forget all your troubles. Whatever you're thinking about, you're not thinking about anything. It clears your mind instantly. And it's better than a cup of coffee. You're up now. You're up. So I recommend it.
Do you do it for health benefits as well?
I don't know about the health benefits. I don't even know if there are any health benefits. I'm reading conflicting things now.
For cold plunges?
Yeah, yeah. But this is not a cold plunge. This is cold water, mainly focused on your head, which you can take, I think, a lot better than if it's hitting, other parts of your body.
The organs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, it comes down and hits those, but I focus on my face and my head mostly. I'm standing in the spray like that. But it does the same thing. It wakes you up, and I think everyone should try it. Again, just try it. What's the worst that can happen? Oh, it was cold. Yeah. And that's it.
Let's say your brother's
You're not burning yourself, right? I'm not saying do it with the hottest water in the world. You're not going to hurt yourself. Yeah.
Let's say your brother's not watching this right now.
Yeah.
What are some things you would not do in the next season of Somebody Feed Phil?
Oh, he talked about going to a place that does extreme sports, and maybe you get on the back of somebody who's hang gliding. I'm like, absolutely not.
Is that 100% no?
100% no. Even he knows not to ask me. But he did mention it. He goes, I know we're not doing that. I said, damn right we're not doing that.
Is there
First
like
of all,
a 10%
I'm an old man.
chance?
No, there's no chance. I'm old. And how do you get? I'm not Tom Cruise. I'm not getting. I mean, who's insuring this project?
Let's say Lily wanted to do it with you.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, Joe, stop. Did my brother call you?
We're not even filming right now. Do you want to go hang gliding?
Not at all. Not at all. No, I'm terrified.
What city completely surprised you?
Vietnam, Saigon. If you're my age, you grew up. Your image of Vietnam is Apocalypse Now, and Platoon, and The Deer Hunter, and all the war movies, because we had a big war there, and that's what you saw on the news. So when people are telling me this is paradise, best vacation I ever had, I'm like, really? I did some research, and that doesn't look like war. That was in the that was in the 60s and 70s. Time has passed. And you go, and it is paradise. It's absolutely beautiful. And the people are the sweetest, nicest, kindest people. Everyone's smiling. Everyone smiles at you. And the food is spectacular.
Do you overshoot?
Of course. We film for a week and condense it down to an hour.
to the best moments of what you want to
I
highlight?
hope so. Yeah, it should be.
Are you involved in the editing?
Yeah, sure. Sure. At first, I was really like, I was there for so much of it. But now, because everyone who works on the show knows what the show is, at first you have to set the tone of the show. I feel like it should tell this story. I feel like it should move like this. I'm using everything I learned about how to make a television show, which I love doing. I love creating and making a show. But now it's in the service of everything else I love in life. Family, friends, food, travel, laughs. And you want a good beginning, middle, and an end. That's just good storytelling. So even though it doesn't look like you're watching a show that has a story, we make sure it feels like you're watching a show that has a story. So meaning it has a beginning, middle, and an end. Beginning is usually me talking to camera and telling you, how I feel about the place, whether I'm scared to go because it's, what do I know about Vietnam, right? Or I've been there before, I can't wait for you to see this, or I've never been, I don't know anything about this place, we're going to discover it together, okay? So you're starting at a certain point, then you see me eating a few things, but then what happens? It's not just about the eating. It's all about connecting with the people, and you're seeing cultural moments. You're talking about the architecture that's going by. We're meeting local heroes who have set up these charities or ways to help people where they live. What could be wrong with that? You feel empowered by these saints in the world who are doing really creative, beautiful things to help their neighbors, or you see how neighbors are getting along. So it's about so much more than just a guy eating. It has to be. If it was just a guy eating, I would get bored, and I'm the guy eating. It has to be more. Nobody just eats on the vacation unless they're really sick people. But you want to take in all this stuff, and then what happens? I used to Skype home with my parents, and that was the equivalent of a postcard home, the Zoom. So now that they've passed, I have my friends, and they serve the same function, connecting back home. And while you're there, my dad always used to tell a joke for Max. So that's a structural thing that people know they're going to get in every show. And then what happens after that? The little finale, which is like a curtain call for all the people that we met in this episode. And what are we doing? We're sitting around a table and we're all friends now. And that's a beautiful message, I think, to give, because that's what I feel the world really needs to be. There are people who want to build a wall, okay? And I say, instead of a wall, how about a table?
If you're not able to answer this, feel free not to. But you said earlier you don't know if there's another season being picked up yet.
Right.
For you, do you already have your episodes sent over to them? This is what we want to do. Do you want to pick it up? And is it just in their hands now? Or how does TV production work for a streaming service with your style of show?
They either want to do it or they don't.
And
And
then you create the show.
It doesn't matter what, I mean, listen, they don't really care what places we go to. They know the show. They've liked it enough to keep it on. But again, at any moment, they could say that's enough. But I can promise you this. I'm going to do this show till I can't anymore. I'm going to do this show the rest of my life. Why? Because I think it's my life's work. I think it incorporates everything I know and value.
Have you done Los Angeles?
Yeah, right away. It was at the first in the first batch on PBS. Now, that was when we filmed that. That was 10 years ago. Is it time to do LA again? Hell yeah.
Yeah, because that's not on Netflix, I don't think.
That's on, but those PBS shows, that was I'll Have What Phil's Having. Those are on YouTube. Those first 6. Tokyo, Los Angeles, Barcelona, Italy. Forgot what else. But they're 6 of like Earth's greatest hits.
Where would you include
Paris.
Would Max and Helens be in the Los Angeles episode?
I'm going to do a special about Max and Helens because it's Max and Helen, and because I think diners are so great. Like, it might be a good mini episode to do about diners, and then using the building of our diner as an example of what we tried to do. Yeah. Yeah.
Phil, this has been incredible.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks so much for coming by.
I love meeting you. We're gonna go for pizza.
I would love to.
You know where I live. You
Sonny's.
You're gonna write me and say, I called at noon. Meet me there at 3. Yeah, I really want to try it.
Okay.
I heard great things,
Me too.
and that burger sounds good too. But that's a little further for me. But I'm okay. Where's Sonny's?
In West Hollywood-ish, I believe.
Yeah, I can do that.
Do you like froyo?
I love it.
Have you had the Big Chill? Westwood?
Oh, somebody told me it's their favorite thing. I also love
Mason loves it.
Yes, he loves it. That's who told me. My kids. Do you remember a place called Humphrey Yogurt?
No. I'm from New Jersey originally.
Okay.
I moved here 10 years ago.
So Humphrey Yogurt was a brilliant concept. There used to have more. I think there's one left. It might be in the Valley. People tell us. So they start with their basic yogurt, and then they'll do these mix-ins of whatever you want, and then they put it through the machine, and it blends it into the flavor,
Oh, wow.
which I never saw before. This is not just like having a topping. It's
Part of it.
blended into.
It's like an ice cream.
It's amazing. Yeah. So I like them.
Do you have a favorite gelato spot here?
There's actually one on Larchmont from Brazil, called Bacio de Latte. Is that
Yes.
it? Very nice. Very nice. I don't know all the gelato shops in LA. Do you?
Yeah, there's one. It's like an Israeli one further down on Ventura and Tarzana. I'm blanking on the name.
And it's a frozen yogurt, or
This is Gelato. Anita Gelato.
I know them. They're a chain, right?
Yeah,
they're
there's-
from Israel. They're in New York. I had
New
a New York.
York,
Yeah,
Los
very,
Angeles.
very good. Very good.
So good.
Yeah.
This has been awesome.
Thank you, my friend. Great to see you.
You as well. See ya. That was so great.